Hi makers, welcome to this tips and tricks video on setting up your variations and attaching the images to them. So we're going to actually use a variation test product that I have created. So you can see here in my product listing that I've got that image showing of the clouds. I've got the product name, of course, named variation test. So let's go across to the three dots so we can edit this listing, because I want to show you how the variations have been set up with a couple of tiers. So you can see once we enter into the product that I've actually got some other images here. So we'll come to that in a moment. And then in the description, I've just kind of given a brief outline of how I've set this up so that you'll see how the images actually show on the front end when you do and don't include all of the variations. So let's firstly just go down to our variations section. So we've got our variant details here. So you can see what I've got in here is we've got print 1, print 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we've got a size of in those as well. So that's how we've kind of set up the two variations of that. There is another video on how to set up the variants. Um, so with these tips and tricks, what I wanted to cover is just things like with your variations, like you've got the option to actually have up to 3 tiers of variation, but I want you to consider the customer. Like, how deep do you want to take your variations? Because it could confuse your customer, could give them too many choices. You know what it's like when there's just way too many choices available to you. And, what they've clicked on when they've opened up your listing is that's the image that they've seen. So at first glance, they haven't seen all these other images. So all of these other variations are hidden in the product listing until they actually click in. So it's the clouds that actually got their attention, not the stars or the moon or the other prints that we've got available in here too. So we've also got sun and the rain clouds. So what I'll do is take you into the variations section. So when you're in your variant details, it doesn't matter which one you select. If you just select the three dots and select edit, it takes you into the section in here where you've got your options, and you'll notice here that once you've got that second tier set up, it opens up that second option in here for you, and it will depend on what you've called it. So for us, the first tier is called a title, and that's where we've actually put all of the prints, so print 1 through to 5. And then we created a second variant, which is size. So we've just called it for this purpose A and B. So you can see that when we click through, we've got print 1A, it's $20, it's got an image attached. We've got print 1B. So you can see print 1, size B, and it's a different price. So that's how you can kind of identify your different variations. Of course, you can track your product inventory for each of the variations as well. And that will be very handy when it comes to including options that you don't have stock for. So let's take the example here. So you can see if I look through all of these that I actually don't have a print for in a size B. So in the system, I don't have that in stock. I don't have any inventory of it. What will happen in the front end of the system is that it doesn't recognize, like that's not an option. So the images don't refresh, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But if we actually just, oops, sorry about that. If we just go back to a variation test, and I'll explain in the description what I've done here. So print 1 comes in size A and B. Print 2 only comes in a size B, but I've added size A with a 0 inventory. So this allows the photos to work. Size 3, size 5 both come in size A and B. And the print 4, I've only set up size A. I haven't set up a size B. So let me now take you to the front end of the store so that I can show you what happens with the images when you don't select every variant in both options. So essentially what we're saying here is that each variation that you have, so every print, so prints 1 through to 5, if you have another variation of it, what you need to do is set up both options for each print. So, and that way then the photos actually work on the front end. So let me take you through. This will make more sense. So now we're in the front end here. So you can see we've got print 1 here. We've got size A. We can click through to size B. So now it's print 4 that doesn't have an option in the back end of the system. So there's no variation for print 4 in a size B. So we've got our cloud image showing. So now let's select print 4 and size B. So you can see what happens is the image doesn't change to the print 4 that we have because there is no option in the back end of the system and it just says unavailable. So now if we select print 4 and go back to a size A, you'll see the image updates. Okay. Now, if we go to our print 2, which is the one that we've set up size A and size B, and one of them doesn't have any inventory. So let's go print 2, size A. And now what you can see is the image actually refreshes to the correct print, but it says sold out. So it just means that when the customer's clicking through the prints or your variations, whatever they are, if you don't have that option in stock or even do, your best to still set it up as a variation and have zero inventory, and then it is just says sold out. So the customer's not able to purchase it anyway, but at least the images click through correctly. And so you've got print 3 size A, print 3 size B. So another thing I guess to ensure when you're setting up variations is to not overcomplicate it. And remember, you've got 10 images. So, a good test is if you've got more than 10 types of variation in your product listing, you're probably going too far. You won't be able to attach images to it. So you may have 15 different prints, but you can't attach images to all of those. So the customer's not going to be able to see what those prints are. You might have an explanation, but they want the visual representation of it. So ensure that your variation options don't exceed the images that you have. And, I guess it's one of those things to consider is that, the customer at first glance has actually clicked on the clouds. That's what appeals to them. So potentially all of these other options that you've got hidden within your product listing are not going to get seen by the people that would resonate with those images or those variations or whatever they are. They could be colors, um, those types of things. So what we would essentially, what we could suggest as an option for you is to create duplicated listings of your variation product that you've got. So with this particular one, yes, we've got 5 different variations in this product listing. You could create another 4 product listings, each having their own front main image. So you would make print 2 the main image and then print 3 another product listing, and you could still have all of your variations in the listing, but it opens it up for more visibility for your customers. I guess if you think about walking into a clothing store and you've got a black dress hanging on a rack, and that's all you have. But the salesperson says, "Oh, we have this in another 15 colors and 5 sizes, but they're all out the back." You're less inclined to go like looking and digging. Whereas if you've got that black dress, but then you've also got the red dress, the yellow dress, the white dress, all hanging on the rack there, you're more likely to go like look, you'll be able to see, or they might be spattered around the store. They might have black dresses here and they might have red dresses in another section. It opens up the visibility, I guess, for your customers. So what you can do, if we click back into our listing here, There is another video covering duplication, but as a really quick way to do it, what you can do is in your More action here, click on that, and you can duplicate this listing. So when you duplicate it, so we'll call it let's call this variation. Whoops. We'll just call this variation test 2. Select duplicate, and it will do an exact copy of your listing for you. And then from there, you can change your main image. So you can make another product listing that features the stars, and you can update whatever you need to update in your description box as well. Now, obviously, really simply to change your main image is select view all, find the image that you want to make your main image, move that to the front, and then you can select save. So that's now made print to the main image. Whoops, it's letting me know it's processing in the background. Sometimes you can get this error, images are still processing in the background. It's just asking you to give it a little bit of time to do its thing, and then you can come back in. Now, the other option that I would suggest with adding duplicated product listings with your variants is also to reorder these as well. So you can see here you can reorder variant. Click on that, and all you need to do, so what we want to do here is we will move 2A and 2B to the front of the order. We'll leave everything else there, 1s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. Now remember, we're missing 4B here too, so that was something that we do need to go in and fix. Save. Okay, so now let's go in and add that extra variant, because what we want to do is add print 4B for the $25. So again, doesn't matter which one you're doing, you can just select edit. Now, if you don't want to change that one, you want to add another variant. So select add another variant. So your title is print 4. Size was B, wasn't it? Yep. So size B. Price was $25. Now remember, this is the one that's out of stock. So track this product's inventory. We just want to have that as $0. Okay, so then you can just select save. Now we still need to add our image. So go to add image. Your print 4 was the sun. Select save. Excellent. So now what we have is all of the variation options available, so our images will work correctly. Now what you maybe also want to do here, see now your prints 4s are a little bit out of whack in your variation order. You can just again click on reorder variant. Let's move 4B there, so it's all in a bit of sequential order for you. Select save. Now let's see if we can go in and update our images. So view all, move our stars to the front, select save. Perfect. That's let us do that. Now let's go and have a quick look in the front end again of the. All right, so now you can see, obviously they're looking for the product, whatever the product is called. Now they're getting a couple of options. They're like, oh, do I like the clouds or do I like the stars? And then they can click on either one of those, and then they can still, that, the stars is what grabbed them, but then they've still got all of the other variation options available in the system. And now because too we fixed up the print 4 in a B, it's now able to click through to the correct image for you. So you can see print B says sold out. We added that with 0 inventory. So they won't be able to purchase it, but at least the system will skip through the images correctly, so they're getting the actual representation of what that print is. So if they like that print B is unavailable, they might be happy to choose print 4 in size A. It's a little bit less money. They can add that to cart. So hopefully that helps make a little bit more sense of some of the variation options and setting the system out, I guess, to help it work for you so that the images work for your customers. And, again, it's like that old adage of keeping it simple. Um, don't overcomplicate it for yourself or for your customers. We think like one of the best options you can do, like we've mentioned back up in here, is, having, oops, if I can spell properly, is having more visibility with your product. So create that extra listing or extra listings and have the main images that particular one, but still embed all of your other variations into your product listing. And particularly helpful if you've got more, like I said, of that, you've got more than the quantity available with your photos. So you've only got 10 images to play with. So make sure your variations don't exceed the image options that you've got, because you want to attach an image to every single one of your variations so that it's a true representation for your customer to what they're purchasing. So